Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max.
Welcome, everyone. We are the Geek Patrol, and our microphones don't have a stun setting. Today, we're joining you from the Memphis in May World Barbecue Cooking Competition, where Alan Gilbreth received a technical violation when it was learned that his signature Hogmageddon 48-hour marinade consisted of 7 parts tomato sauce, 5 parts honey, 4 parts extracted octopus ink, and 1 part nitroglycerin. Yeah. I mean, I've heard of don't light a match, Alan. But,
still sounds tasty.
Well, they didn't throw you out. They just they took a few points off, right?
Well, they want the nitro and the glycerin a little more separated.
The violation was there was no garlic.
That's true.
Yeah. Where's your garlic, sir? So
I think I see some state troopers around here just kind of investigating it.
Yeah, let's move it along. Anyway, welcome to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. Yeah, weird recipe, but Alan never fails. I'm Joe Thordison here with my friends Alan Gilbreth, not Brandon Olmstead, Max behind the glass, and sitting in for Brandon Olmstead, Scott J. Carroll, who is a fixture over at darkoakmedia.com, right?
He
Alan?
is.
Okay.
He is.
Scott is a you wear many hats, sir.
I do. Not as many as you do.
No.
Physically. But no, I do a lot, and it's fun, and I get to make fun of my friends. Have fun with my friends.
Yeah.
And
well, there's some good stuff that you do over there. I always liked your story, your animated. What are they? They're called. They're about 7 minutes long.
Story time.
Story time.
My story
I always
times.
like those the best. So
I do have plans to get back to those. We've just had so many other projects popping up.
Yeah.
That one's had to take a bit of a back burner because that one just takes a while. It's a little more intensive to put those together.
Well, if you ever see, if you're ever at any of the conventions in town or any of the events where we're at, Scott's usually there with a camera, getting footage and interviewing people and getting the lay of the land and all that. So, and reporting his findings. So, have fun today, Scott. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do. But so, Alan, a couple things. Since Brandon's not here, basically Brandon is trapped downtown because of Memphis in May, right? I mean, he's literally, it's going to take him hours to get home, I'm thinking.
He is on the inside of the barbecue festival going on, so bless his heart.
So he's off. Yeah,
he's there
because he
it
couldn't.
Smells really good, but he ain't getting out.
Right. Well, with that in mind, we're going to take advantage of it because one of the things you and I, we always enjoy, and I think even Max enjoys science. So we're going to probably lean a little heavier into science. That's not going to be all we're going to discuss today because we want to maybe give a salute to bad B movies.
Oh, yeah.
Science and B movies. This is my jam.
I mean, there you go, Scott. So it's like, well, and because Alan, you talked about this trailer, The Meg, which came out, and it does look pretty hilarious. I mean, I realize is it supposed to be funny? Because it sure looks funny to me.
All right. This is a movie that understood that they were just making a popcorn movie.
Yeah, and taking it for what it is and owning it. And it reminded me of a movie that we talked about many years ago called Mecha Shark versus Mega Shark.
Oh, yeah.
Or vice versa. I don't want. So we're going to talk about that a little later.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, why not?
Getting into some high dollar B movies.
Yeah, I mean.
Roger Corman.
Yeah. So it's and I think that's the thing. It knows what it is. It doesn't shy away from it, and if you can approach it that way, then you can have some fun with it.
And I really love it when they just lean into it.
Right.
Everybody went, we're not winning an Academy Award for this, right?
Right.
And everybody goes, yeah, we know.
Yeah.
And that's when you're like, all right, break out the popcorn. Here we go.
Yeah. Hey, before we get to that though, Scott, I am curious about something because we've seen you around. You're basically a content creator. Mm-hmm. But you do a lot of the work yourself, right? I mean,
yeah.
Paint a picture for what is that like? You go to an event and you have to produce a video, and then you have to, what does that look like? How do you know what video to capture?
It's a really interesting process that I call internalized chaos.
Okay.
I'll have a basic idea of what I want to go for.
That's a new name for my band too, by the way. But okay, go ahead.
And a lot of credit does have to go to my wife, Alexis, because her patience
she's
is
a saint.
She really is. And she's also
You
better
don't
than
deserve
all of
her.
us. I really don't. I really don't. I got lucky, and I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
I'll pull up to an event with an idea in mind. Like, I know I have to film this event. What is going to be my through line? What am I going to be talking about? What kind of guests do they have? What events are they going to have? What kind of gags can I do? And when I say gags, I say it's when I'll be in a dealer's room.
Right.
And they'll have like when our pal Mr. Robert shows up and he brings the big terror dog from Ghostbusters. I look like a hefty Rick Moranis. So I know if I see the terror dog, I can do a Ghostbusters joke. And that'll be one of the gags I tie in. Because you need to interject some kind of humor or through line through your whole show. So
See, I like that. Okay, go ahead.
It'll be setting up the interviews going, all right, I've got these interviews. I can put this one here, this one in the middle, this one towards the end. What are the gags, the interstitials going to be? Where can I put the commercials? Because we have to factor that into when we're doing a 22 or 44-minute piece and cut all that together. And
See, when I see really bad YouTube videos or just ones that there's usually no theme, there's no through line, it's just random stuff being thrown up there, and that's really irritating to watch. So
yeah, you can't keep up. You can't keep pace with it.
And you don't know what you're going to get. So you have basically a narrative through there. So, and you have to think about it in advance. So
you do, and on the day it changes because something will pop up. I like to do what I call the Josh Gates method because he's a taller, better looking version of me. And I'll, something will pop up and I'll go, yes, let's record that. And I'll figure it out later.
Yeah, get the content while you can. And so that's another thing. It's just like in filming. You got to adapt to what you get. And what you get might be a lot better than what you originally planned.
Oh, sometimes we get some amazing stuff.
Okay. So where's your camera today, man? You don't...
Security.
I notice he's like, it's a wasted effort bringing it in here. So.
Security said no one wants to see Joe.
Okay. Hey, Scott, how do people follow what you do?
Well, you can go to either darkoakmedia.com or you can go to our YouTube, which is Dark Oak Media on YouTube. All the videos and stuff I produce go up there. We got some fun new stuff, some new shorts, people you see at, which tons of fun. And that's mainly where I put everything up because I don't really do Facebook much anymore.
Yeah, I noticed you're kind of although Facebook, I don't know. We'll talk about that off the air. So it ain't what it used to be, in my opinion.
No, it's not.
So, all right, very good, Scott. So Scott's going to be hanging with us the whole time today here on Geek Tank Radio. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. These guys owe Jabba the Hutt a lot of money. The Geek Patrol is back.
That's why Brandon's not here.
I wonder. Yeah.
Now, about why I'm here.
Yeah, exactly. So, and welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody.
Hi, Brandon, too.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm Joe
Brandon
Thornton, here with my friends Alan Gilbreth, Max behind the glass. Not Brandon, because Brandon is trapped over at Barbecue Fest. So sitting in for him is Scott J. Carroll from darkoakmedia.com, among other ventures and stuff. Hey, you guys, I want to mention real quick before we get into our discussion about bad B movies, I just want to remind everybody it's less than 6 months away to the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention, which is going to be November 10th through 12th at the University of Memphis Holiday Inn, which is a much bigger venue than we had last year. You know, I'm pretty happy about that, Alan. We've, through COVID, we survived COVID.
Yes.
Not every convention did. We survived through some pretty interesting years, and now we are back to a much bigger venue. And I'm really excited about our guest, our celebrity guest of honor, Mo Collins, who, among other things, star of Mad TV, Fear the Walking Dead. But what I'm really interested in asking about is her work on Parks and Recreation, where she plays the legendary news anchor Joan Calamezzo.
Yes.
What a dysfunctional, weird lady she is.
You're not talking about Mo, right?
Mo is great. I mean, but to pull that off and everything. So, but,
she was inspired.
She's all about stand-up. And, I mean, you do stand-up and everything, too, Scott. And I guess, were you a fan of any of her work? Like, Mad TV or any of those?
Of course. I remember when Mad TV first aired and just watching all those comedians who, they just had all these great ideas. And, of course, that helped inspire some of my own jokes and some of my own comedy. We got to blame them? Okay. In part.
Yeah.
But it's also... and especially in the sketch comedy thing, you don't see as many females in the troops.
I didn't think of that.
And it's always funny and great to see just hysterical people, and it's always great to just watch and learn from them.
She's fearless too. She is not, and she's an attractive lady, but she didn't mind dressing up as these weird. Her character Lorraine was some frumpy old. That's one of my favorite ones. So it's like, but it does remind me. It's interesting because like Parks and Rec is a show. They say cut. There's a camera. Mad TV and shows like that, Saturday Night Live or Carol Burnett, it really just is theater. I mean, right? I mean, am I wrong? That is a live audience. It's basically, you're doing it like a theater production.
Well, if you go back to the Carol Burnett show, basically they had the idea that we would try all of our events, all of our gaffes.
Mm-hmm.
We would do them at least 2 times.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that way we would cut out and film, we'd air the best one. And basically what ended up happening was the one they actually made it through is what usually wound up on the air. Because if you go back to some of the classics.
Oh, yeah.
If you're going to get the curtain off of Gone with the Wind, if you're going to get. And the other thing to remember is a lot of these were the new talents on these shows, new up-and-comers, and went on to massive careers.
Vicki Lawrence.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, so Mad TV follows in those footsteps. So
Second
I can't.
City, a bunch of these shows.
Well, I can't wait to meet her. So you can meet Mo Collins, and a great lady, and get her autograph, get a photo op, and she'll be doing Q&As. It's going to be a fun weekend, and all of our things are back. We bigger and better than it's than we've been in years. So you can follow us at the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention Facebook page for updates. And if you want to buy tickets or if you want to learn more, go to memphiscfc.com. And we also want to remind everybody that all of our sister stations here at Cumulus are partnering with us this year, so they're going to be well represented. I want to see the Kicks 106 folks here.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be interesting. What is that going to be like, Alan?
And when you come, make sure you go to the Piranha Room.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And we'll be talking about the Piranha Room in the days ahead. So, but I don't want to turn this thing into far be it for me to turn this whole thing into a commercial about our convention. Alan,
we got more bad stuff to talk about.
Let's talk about the Bad Bee movie in particular. There we go, Max. The new, the Meg, the trailer is hilarious, but is it out now? I'm saying it's hilarious. I mean, there's people being eaten by sharks and
but in a fun way.
I mean, they're having fun while they're doing it.
It's as we like to say, it's cartoon violence.
I mean, this thing could basically eat a school bus. It's,
I think that's the point they're trying to make. But when you look at the history of some of these movies, it's the cheap B movie
And the trailer itself, it's followed the trailer of B movies of the past, which is, hey, remember this type of movie? Well, our movie is going to be bigger or scarier. Or like the William Castle, like, if you watch this movie and you die, I'll buy you a coffin type of promo for it. And this one, I remember this trailer started off like, remember, Jurassic Park? Forget that. We're bigger and better.
Right. I think what's cool about this whole thing, though, is, let's be honest. There's a lot of expensive Marvel movies and things like that are more or less B movies, but they don't think they are. And so you watch them with a different view. But when you go into a movie like this or like Sharknado or whatever, you can actually just have some fun with it. And if you see the stitches in the costume or something, who cares? It just adds to the fun, right?
When you got Jason Statham gonna karate kick a shark in the nose or something, oh, come on.
It's the bald hero principle.
It is. It's
you don't care what happens. The hero is bald and he's gonna make it.
That's right. Yeah, the bald-headed guy always lives through the movie.
Is that a thing?
That's a thing.
Well,
Joe.
The Rock.
You and I are gonna live through the movie, baby.
Okay.
We're living through the movie.
I'm gonna have to check those statistics and see if that plays out. So, okay.
But these are just fun, oh my gosh, movies, and they can be anywhere from like no budget at all to budgets of tens of millions of dollars.
Well, this movie looks like it's pretty well.
Oh, there's a lot of production value, but make no mistake, this is a classic B movie.
I mean, it's a kaiju movie, right?
It is.
It's
It's basically a kaiju movie. Yeah.
I like how on the poster it says Meg 2, The Trench, back for seconds.
Wait, did you see the first one, Alan?
Did I see the first?
This is the second Meg movie.
This is the second Meg movie. Trust me, I have seen the Meg many times.
Okay, well we're gonna continue to unpack this when we come back here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. I'd like to see artificial intelligence replace this. The Geek Patrol is back.
You know, we do have job security in that realm. They're not going to duplicate this. So.
I can tell what a stoplight is. Take
Exactly.
that.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Alan Gilbreth and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And sitting in for Brandon Olmstead, who is trapped downtown by a bunch of hungry barbecue enthusiasts, is our pal Scott J. Carroll from darkoakmedia.com. And we've been talking, if you're just tuning in, we've been talking, among other things, I gave a shameless plug for the upcoming Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention, which is coming up November 10th through 12th. Get your tickets at memphiscfc.com, and you can meet Mo Collins, our celebrity guest of honor. However, we're also talking about bad B movies, and it occurred to me, Alan, what triggered the whole conversation is there's a new Meg 2, I guess, is what coming up.
Back for seconds.
Back for seconds. And we are more or less talking about the bad B movies out there. And I really think they play to their advantage when they just own the fact that they're a bad B movie. However, as we were talking off the air, it seems like sharks are really low-hanging fruit when it comes to making a bad B movie. And I mean, there's any number of ways to approach it, right, Scott? I mean, you had you had one that you were telling us about that sounded hilarious. So
it's really a modern version of just the old bad B movies.
Okay.
The bad B movie where you've got the scientist that goes, "I'm using radiation to do that to make a man invisible."
Yeah.
But this modern one, I think it was called Hammerhead. A scientist, his son has cancer, and he discovers that sharks don't get cancer. So he turns his son into a shark monster.
Well, why not? You know, the logic there makes sense to me. So, yeah.
He's only running around eating the neighbors.
Well, was he amphibious or did he have
Well,
to?
in true B-movie fashion, a boat full of scantily clad co-eds
of course,
ends up on the same island, and antics ensue.
Okay, so what happened to the dad? I guess I wonder if he was the first course.
No. Again, classic B-movie fashion. It's no, my hubris, and he gets eaten by his own creation.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he was the first. Yeah, okay. But Alan, you know, we've had Sharknado, we've had Mecha Shark versus Mega Shark, which was one of my favorites. But
Sharktopus versus Whale Wolf.
Right.
Yeah, we've had Ghost Shark, and then we've had the multi-headed shark movies. There was Attack of the Two-Headed Shark, the Three-Headed Shark, the Four-Headed Shark. There was a 5, and I think there was even an Attack of the Six-Headed Shark.
So this provokes a question. Was the original Jaws a bad B movie? Because there was a lot of drama in that movie, and I'll tell you, it terrorized. When I was a kid, I didn't want to get near the ocean after watching that movie. So, and it was low budget. You know,
I'm gonna say the original Jaws went like this. It probably would have unintentionally, because Steven Spielberg was there to make a drama. Because the book Jaws was astounding, a massive, massive bestseller.
Right.
Fun fact about Jaws. Point Pleasant, New Jersey, my hometown, that's where the events that inspired Jaws took place.
Oh, that's right. That was a true, because that was an actual situation
it was bull
back in
sharks eating everybody in the river.
Like back in 1915 or something like that. Yeah.
A time ago.
Yeah. But so, Alan,
Jaws was this very dramatic book, and the book and the movie oddly wound up following the book because one of the three Bruces rarely worked.
Bruce was the name for the mechanical shark.
They had Bruce, and Bruce, the three mechanical sharks. And to be honest, they had all kinds of horrible problems with them. So they went for the B movie effects. The pier getting ripped off and then coming back floating in, but you never saw you never saw the monster.
Which made it scarier because that's what you would experience in a shark attack. You're not going to even really see it. And
what made Jaws work so much was because everybody has this innate fear of the ocean because we just don't know what's out there.
Right.
And when you do all the POV shots and the shots where you don't see it, your brain fills in those gaps.
Right, and it's going to be scarier than what they're showing you. So,
And then when it finally does make the big appearance, it is full on battle time.
yeah,
So by the time you see the monster, it's time to see the monster. And Spielberg did an amazing job with that. But if you go back and look at some of the scenes that really got you, they were all pretty much B-movie, slasher, horror movie, film noir type effects.
right, yeah.
And totally worked. Because
Oh, yeah.
Jaws today, you'll still watch.
So
And it still holds up.
well, here's the thing: the first Jaws movie, it scared people. Okay,
Oh, it
now
almost closed the ocean for a year.
Now we come forward 50 or whatever years, and we're looking at the Meg, and the Meg just makes me laugh. And it's fun. So how did we get from shark attacks being scary to actual fun? You know,
Well, all right. Well,
The
first off,
1970s.
well, first off, the Meg is not possible. It's like
don't jinx it, Alan. I mean, come on.
It is like a 50
I
to
saw
75
Pacific Rim.
foot.
Okay. Oh no, the Meg. If my math is, this thing looks like it's a few hundred feet long, right?
Oh,
I mean,
this thing is between 50 and 75 feet long. This
Wait,
thing is
oh
absolutely
no,
huge.
Alan.
I like how you say you saw Pacific Rim, the historical documentary.
Exactly.
Pacific Rim.
Alan, I think we need to. No, I think it's bigger than that. But,
Well, it might be by the time we get through with
his
Meg
mouth
2.
is 50 feet across.
Yeah,
so. This thing's big, man. It swallowed
Again,
a boat. Okay.
totally tossing science and disbelief out the window. They're like, our movie's got a giant shark. It's going to eat a boat. You're either in or you're out. And everyone's like, all right, let's go. We're in. We're going to watch you eat the boat.
And I
Is it-
think we got to funny. Sorry, I think we got to funny because of just the cheap production of movies throughout the 70s and 80s of like Piranha, Orca, things like that, where it's just, okay, I'm going to laugh at the rubber leg that gets bitten off, or I'm going to laugh at this. And now it's seeing what they can make out of it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's but I want to watch this movie. So,
Oh, this
is it
movie's
out
gonna
yet,
be
or
right.
is it?
Yeah, I think it just came out. So, the Meg 2 is going to be a riot, and they're having, and they've totally leaned into their genre,
right?
Because they got to move. They got to. Their TV spot begins with dinosaurs.
There you go.
And the next TV spot's got the Little Mermaid in it, and the next one, the poster says, "We're back for more." What does it say?
Back for seconds.
Back for seconds. Guys, you gotta love a movie that just is honest about what it is.
The Meg 3, Past the Tums.
Yeah.
I think that's what I want. I don't want somebody, pulling a bait and switch. If this is like I said, I mean, a lot of the Marvel movies are kind of bad B movies today.
Bait and switch?
Yeah, there you go.
Some of them, yeah.
A fish,
All right, well, we'll be keeping an eye on this. I'll be interested to see what kind of money this thing makes. But, Alan, we're going to shift gears. When we come back, we're going to talk a little science.
Mm-hmm.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. Sharknado was an inside job. The Geek Patrol is back.
Now, that's on point, Max. Very well done. And we were the ones to uncover that conspiracy, Alan. I'm proud to say. So, and we'll unpack that. Maybe you can unpack that over on Geeky Side TV, Scott. That's your next
I'll look
assignment.
into that one.
Anyway, welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Alan Gilbreth, our buddy Max over there behind the glass, and sitting in for Brandon Olmsted this week is Scott J. Carroll from Geeky Side TV. And Alan, the show always goes way too fast. So
it does.
We've been talking about bad B movies and especially leaning heavily on the shark themes. And but we're going to talk a little science at this point. So
Yeah,
Hail science!
Yeah, that guy. We got to throw in a little bit about 3D printing because it is actually having an effect on the movies and everything because we can 3D print, I'm just going to use the expression, pert near everything these days.
and even biological.
Oh my
material,
gosh,
so,
we
yeah.
can 3D print an ear. We can 3D print a house. We can 3D print amazing stuff.
You just made me think. I didn't mean to bring this up, Alan, but is 3D printing going to play a role in like cosmetic surgery? Or
Already has.
Are these models going to be getting a 3D printed nose job or something like that? Oh,
No,
boy.
Joe, yes.
I'm just saying.
There's
I
no
mean,
ambiguity. Notice I'm looking you dead in the eye. Yes, they are.
It seems weird. You talk about a monster movie, because I mean, yeah. Okay.
Oh, 3D.
I'm just thinking if it gets infected or if it.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of good stuff we can run with. Good horror movie material.
Right. Okay. So what's cooking in
All
the
right,
3D
well,
world?
In the 3D world, oh my gosh, they have new resins, new concretes, seriously, of And one of the big things is we've had trouble printing ceramics.
I didn't know you
go
could
figure.
print ceramic.
Well, now you
Wait,
can.
now why is it? Because when I think of ceramic, I think of like something made of clay, and then you have to bake it and fire it. Or
now
so.
add a wire to it, and now we're talking about printing semiconductors and computer parts.
Okay.
And we've always had a problem because they had to be supported. Well, now there are 3D printers that can print with the thermal ceramic material, and they're curing it with wavelength light.
Huh.
So basically, they're hitting it with UV light, and they're curing the ceramic, and thus making the product.
Sounds like the timing would have to be perfect because it's in a liquefied state, so it can
Yes.
come out, and then it has to be hard. I don't know if I don't want to be the test.
Yeah.
I'd like that technology to develop a little more.
Well,
before-
we're getting there.
I don't want a 3D printed toilet that's been, not perfected. Let's say.
Well, and we've also talked a lot about solar energy.
Okay.
Of Tool Talk Radio. We got a lot into solar and stuff like that.
Yep.
Well, how about wind?
There you go. Yeah.
All right, but
It's
you're really
right
not
there.
going to put a turbine up at your house because that's an 80-foot tall tower with 40-foot long blades, right? Your neighbors might get a little upset about that.
And
Yeah.
the noise. They're shockingly loud.
They're louder than one would think. So what if a German firm came to you and said, we can make you these beautiful 3D printed yard sculptures that will spin and turn with the wind and make electricity.
Okay. Because, you
I
you
would
see
say
those.
Donka.
You see those at like the arts and crafts festivals and stuff, and they look pretty cool.
Well-
so it's a okay. That's more what we're.
Yeah, I'll send Joe the picture. But so congratulations, 3D printing is getting into everything, but it's really starting to make its mark in the fact that very precise, because this is basically airfoil technology. This is like an airplane wing. Has to be pretty much dead on the money to take maximum advantage of the air that's moving.
Go ahead, Alan.
Well,
You're
if
making
you
me think
think
of about a million things right here. But,
Well, you
okay.
think about when you were a kid and a fan.
Yeah.
The fan was basically kind of an angled flat blade, and it kind of sort of threw air out the front.
And then you stood behind it and went,
Yeah.
Yeah, or you went a little later, you went, Luke, I am your father,
Yeah.
All right, well, today you go to the big box store and you buy a super duper high efficiency, oh my goodness fan, which has got very carefully created blades. And let's face it, these bad boys move some air.
Yeah.
All right, well, that technology, let's take that and ramp it up and 3D print it exactly. And now we can begin making three-dimensional yard art that not only does it turn and behave and it's quiet and it makes electricity.
Well, here's the thing, because what got me when you didn't see this, folks. Alan showed us a structure of it just looks like a piece of modern art, but
Yeah.
it's actually a wind turbine collecting air, and so that the connection of making it aesthetically pleasing and making it an interesting piece of art that generates power. That's sort of a game changer, and it's basically a simple idea. Because then you're not going to object to having something like that in your neighborhood. So
I wonder if you could commission a giant Obi-Wan doing the Star Wars sword flip over and over and over.
There
and
you
over.
go. I mean, so yeah. Well, Disney's going to want their cut for that, but yeah. But that's to me, that's just a simple rethinking of. It's just a new, it's just a new way of thinking. Why not make it decorative? I know they tried to do that with like cell phone towers, making them look like a tree. Those don't work. I mean, that's like the ugliest tree I've ever seen. So
Well, it's either a really ugly tree or a slightly less ugly tower. Whichever way you want to go with it.
The joke I always love with that, I can't remember who said it, is that is a spy. It's not a real tree. It's pretending.
It's a spy tree.
And it walks in and says, "Hello, fellow trees. Photosynthesis."
yeah. I don't know. To me, that's more interesting to me than the whole. I know we got 3D printing, and I know we have different
everything.
materials, but this rethinking of you might be driving through a city and there's this really interesting piece of art, you would have no clue that it's actually generating electricity.
Well, think about we've talked about this many times. Urban architecture, looking at to the future,
Right.
laying out your city, and think about the type of artwork or sculptures that you would want that could be actually powering the park.
Yeah.
Imagine if the bean was a giant semiconductor.
Right. Oh, I mean, think of the sun that thing absorbs in Chicago and everything. So I don't know, man. Now that's interesting. That's giving me a lot to think about, Alan. So
I mean, this brings it home in an aesthetically pleasing and usable fashion.
yeah, pretty cool, man. So it's not one of these where it's like this is coming. This is what's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go get your own 3D printed yard art and plug it into your,
With some
run
of the
your
new
toaster.
3D printers, Scott and I may go pick one up this afternoon.
Okay. All right, another thought-provoking episode of Geek Tank Radio. But guys, we're out of time. Man, it's time to get out of here. So until next week, we are the Geek Patrol, and I am Joe Thorderson.
I'm Scott J. Carroll.
I'm Maximilian.
And I'm Alan Gilbreth, reminding you in the honor of Barbecue Festival, go take a big bite out of life.